Okay, so this question here starts to bring in some of your centers. So your centroid here is the one they're talking about, and the centroid is the intersection of two medians. Now, what's a median? Well, a median says that you start at one vertex, here A, and you go right along that towards the other vertex, here would be BC, and where you land is the midpoint of BC, or the midpoint of BC to its opposite vertex. Another one would be if we started at the midpoint of AC, we would go to, whoops, that's not great. The midpoint of AC, we go through the centroid and on to B. Okay, and then what they tell me is when I continue on this line here, I land at P. And they're asking me to find P. Okay, now also this centroid, as they've said here, it says that AG intersects BC at the point P. AG to GP is 2:1. So we have a ratio here of 2:1. Okay, so we have A going on to G, which then goes on to P, and that's 2:1. So we'll see first of all, because we have A and G, we'll see what we'll need to get from A to G. Okay, so 2/3 and 4/3. So the ratio required for that to go from 0 to 2/3 is obviously plus 2/3. To go from 6 to 4/3 is minus 14/3 when you work that on your calculator. Okay, now the next thing then you need to do is we need to go from G, which is 2/3, 4/3, and we need to go on to P. Now, obviously, we don't use the exact same translation because it's 2:1. Okay, so 2:1. So for every two of these, this time I only need one of them. Okay, so I need to, if you see that then, that obviously means that I need to use half the previous ratios. Okay, so I just need to halve the previous ratios. So what I actually need is a half of 2/3 is actually going to give me plus 1/3. And this one here is obviously going to give me minus 7/3. So I've literally halved the ones on top because it's 2:1. So then 2/3 plus 1/3 is 1, and 4/3 minus 7/3 gives me to minus 1. So there's my P to be minus 1.